Well, I had a little interesting, I want to say back and forth, but it really wasn't. But check out this little chat. I just asked a question. Check it out. I'll give you my thoughts at the end. It's interesting. A perfect example of someone that's just not open minded, super dogmatic in their thinking, very rigid, likes to just label people, and once they label them into something that they don't agree with, or it just allows them to dismiss anything that you have to say. But I should say, you'll notice I first asked a question and it said I wasn't allowed to send direct messages. You know how these people pop into your DMs and they say, I want to be your friend, and I block them and report them because it's an obvious scam. For some reason, TikTok thought I was reporting myself as well and banned me from direct messages as well as banning the account. So I appealed it and it got overturned. It took about a day and a half, which was a little bit longer than I would have liked, but nonetheless, I didn't do anything wrong. So there you go. Like, no engagement, just talking down. And this is what I notice about the left. Oh, he's thinking hard here. So I have to pull on that master's degree, and it's like you just dismiss everything. It's a perfect example of how dogmatic your thinking is. You're not even open minded to listening. The assumption he made just on me asking a question. You know what I mean? All instantly categorizes me, which is fine. We all can kind of do that, but you should still be open. It's sort of like you put someone in a box, but you don't put them there permanently or with any kind of certainty. Let's see here. Are you typing something, or like what is going on here? He's really thinking. Well, he was typing and now he's typing again. I don't know. Like, this is, I mean, I think I've been pretty good faith here. And all he's done is basically say, I've got a master's degree, and I appreciate you stopping by. So instantly dismisses everything that I have to say. He doesn't even know who I am or what my education is or isn't. But the fact that, he's going to say, I have a master's in education, well, I mean, if that's from the United States, what does that tell you? I mean, it doesn't stop anyone from learning. It's like that whole thing during COVID. Are you a doctor? It's like when a police officer says, are you a lawyer? Because you happen to know intimately a small part of law, like a small section of like traffic law, let's say, right? And how a traffic stop is supposed to be correctly performed. Whether, if you're informed of your rights, police will say that. Are you a lawyer? Like, do I need to be? No, of course not, right? I don't need to be a doctor to know what masks are for. Like, if you can smell through a mask, obviously, then things can get through a mask, like COVID or the flu or whatever. They're obvious. Like, these are like common sense things. I don't need to go to medical school to know this, right? I mean, there are respiratory experts that work for like WorkSafe BC that have gone through how they test masks and stuff on dummies. They actually glue the mask to the face, so it gets a far better seal than any individual person's going to get, especially someone like myself who has a beard on. It doesn't work, right? So, you know, it's just one of those arguments where you're going to dismiss someone based on what you perceive their education or their knowledge level without actually listening to what they have to say. So, and then it's just the laughing face. I'm like, I didn't come to argue. I literally just asked one question and he assumed all this stuff because I wasn't sure. He just asked, he said Donald Trump is a fascist. So I don't agree with that, right? I mean, if you studied the civics of the United States, if you need a civics lesson, you can instantly refute that argument just by all the checks and balances and how the United States Constitution, how their government system works, right? So it's a silly argument to make. Like to say, oh, he's got executive powers. God, this guy's talking loud behind me. It's like, dude, you know how cell phones work? Jesus. But, like, if you're, it really just chalks up, to the left. I kind of lost my train of thought there. But, like, a civics lesson, you can easily prove that these are not fascist things. Like, executive orders are not fascist things. They have to get they can get codified through Congress, right, by voting, but there are certain powers that the president of the United States have because he's like the one person that's given these special powers that are unlike any other position. That's why the president has so much power. That's not to say he's fascist. So just laughy face. I'm open to hearing why. And then I say, like, one of my favorite sayings, because, like, I don't agree with everything that Trump does, but as soon as I say I like one thing, people call me a Trumper, and then they dismiss whatever you say. I had someone call me a Trumper. I was in a little debate. It was about feminism, and we're talking about the border and open border policy, and she almost fell off her chair because she wasn't aware of any of the policies and executive orders that were instantly reversed, and you can look it up. There's a ton of them that were reversed by Biden. And so she just said, you voted for Trump? And I'm like, I'm Canadian. It's like, but you would vote for Trump. It's like, well, who cares? Like, I have two options. So if I vote for Trump, basically she was just putting me in a category so she can dismiss anything that I was saying, and then she doesn't have to challenge her thoughts and beliefs. And it's the same thing here. And this guy's not willing to engage whatsoever. So, and it just makes me feel good about my ability to calmly interact with someone that I disagree with, which is what I say here. As a typo there, it says, anyway, that you. It's supposed to be thank you for making me feel great about my ability to engage with people I don't agree with in a calm and open-minded manner, far better than your school taught you, evidently. So that's about as cheeky as I got in the whole thing. And, there's just no response here, right? So this is the crux of the issue, is people's inability to communicate, their own egos, their own dogmatic thinking that doesn't allow them to entertain any kind of idea. Like, you won't even think about it. And I'd rather hear the ideas of someone I disagree with, because if I'm really principled in my stance, it's just going to reinforce what I'm thinking. When I hear your argument and it's a weak argument that doesn't, stand up to any kind of real scrutiny, which Donald Trump as a fascist clearly doesn't stand up to any real scrutiny. And again, I hate that I have to provide a disclaimer. I don't love everything that he does. I'm not like Trump no matter what. There's plenty to pick apart on both sides with any politician. But, this is just, like I said, this is the crux of the issue where people don't want to talk. And really, when you stop listening, you stop learning. And this is a perfect example of that. This guy has a master's degree in education and can't even have a good faith conversation, which stops the conversation before it even starts. And I will say this a million times till I'm blue in the face. Once you stop listening, you stop learning. That is a fact. We have clearly a very divided populace in both Canada and the United States. And we have groups of people that are living in different worlds. They have a different set of facts. And the only way to get through and to break down those walls is to talk. And how do you talk without listening? You're not having a discussion then. You're just talking at someone, right? I found it pretty funny. It just, again, it's like when you think about Charlie Kirk not going to school or university and how many people threw that in his face, whether it was about economics or whatever. The ideas that are taught in a university are not copywritten. They are not exclusive to that university. That is not the only place that you can go to learn these things, right? Especially in this day and age. There's information everywhere. You got to use your critical thinking skills when you get like conflicting, reports. And that's another topic altogether, really. But the idea that because you have an education, you're the only one that knows these things, or you know better than anyone else, is absurd to me, because that's like saying, it's the same as saying that I can only buy hockey sticks at Sport Check. I can't order them online. The product is not available only within a brick and mortar shop. The ideas are not available only within a brick and mortar shop. You can do your own research. It's okay. So this is one of those examples. Um, I found it really interesting, so I thought I would share it. Curious your thoughts. Please comment down below.